For the first time in possibly my lifetime, I feel extremely optimistic about the future of this country. I look at the team that Trump has around him now, and I'm really pleased with it. There were a couple of picks that I wouldn't have chosen, but overall, 2024 Trump team, it's so much better than the 2016-2020 Trump team. So much better, leaps and bounds better. And I also, I feel really optimistic about the future of whatever this is. I would call it the future of the Republican Party, but is this really even the Republican Party anymore? It's definitely not the Republican Party that I grew up with. It's not the Republican Party of old. But whatever this new movement is that is spearheaded by Trump, the MAGA movement, the America First movement, I am optimistic about the future. Because, we only got 4 years of Trump. That's the reality. And my question has been, well, what's after Trump? After Trump, are we going to go back to having one of these rhinos or these neocons? Are we going to go back to the old ways of the Republican Party? But from the looks of things, I don't think that's the case anymore. I feel like we have some bright minds that may be able to lead this movement in the future. I mean, look at the people around Trump right now. I wasn't really sold on J.D. Vance for a while. It took me a long time to come around to the guy. But after hearing him do all of these interviews, watching him walk into enemy fire, doing interviews on all of these hostile news networks, and destroying the woke freaking reporters and journalists that would come at him, I honestly like J.D. Vance now. I like J.D. Vance. I think he's able to properly articulate a lot of the talking points that a lot of us have right now. You know what I mean? And Vivek Ramaswamy, another person that I would support as president one day. Now, I know a lot of people are hesitant about him, and I'm hesitant about anyone. I don't really like any politicians. But a lot of these people coming in that are surrounding Trump, they're not career politicians. Now, you may look at them and you may think, hey, maybe this is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and that could possibly be true. But right now, a lot of these people are saying things that I like. And it looks like, you can look at a lot of the picks around Trump, but this DOGE, this Department of Government Efficiency, that's one of the main things that I'm excited about. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk will be leading DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. And from the way they've been explaining things, they plan on cutting the government down, possibly getting rid of entire agencies, and that's what I want. I think the government has gotten too big and too powerful, too overreaching, and they need to be cut back. There's a lot of these agencies that we're spending money on that we don't need to be spending this money. And a lot of these agencies that were supposedly created to protect the American people, we've seen over the past few years that they've been weaponized against the American people. I'm talking about the 3-letter agencies. You guys know what agencies I'm talking about. They've been weaponized against the American people. I don't think they're working in Americans' best interest, and I think the argument could be made that maybe they never were. So yeah, I would support getting rid of a lot of these agencies, but let's go ahead and listen to what Vivek Ramaswamy has to say, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
I want to get your take on how this begins.
Sure.
What are you looking to cut right from the beginning?
So first is we want to go right in through executive action to do the failures of the executive branch that need to be addressed. Because the dirty little secret right now, Maria, is the people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones who actually run the government. It's the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state. That was created through executive action. It's going to be fixed through executive action. Think about the Supreme Court's environment over the last several years. They've held that many of those regulations are unconstitutional at a large scale. Rescind those regulations, pull those regs back, and then that gives us the industrial logic to then downsize the size of that administrative state. And the beauty of all of this is that can be achieved just through executive action without Congress. Score some early wins, and then you look at those bigger portions of the federal budget that need to be addressed one by one. So I think that's one way to think about this is how can the President of the United States, who's been elected with a historic mandate, actually do the thing that the voters have voted for. They haven't voted for incremental change here this time, Maria. We have voted for sweeping change, and the voters actually deserve to get it. And we're focused on how to do that as early and as quickly as possible.
So President-elect Trump just said on that soundbite that you're going to make recommendations. So you're going to make recommendations in terms of where to cut after all that you've just said. Then what?
Look, we're not going to be cutting ribbons. We're going to be cutting costs. And so those recommendations are going to be on a real-time basis. But I do want to take a big step back and understand, for people to understand the scope of this problem. Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place. The Pentagon has just failed its 7th consecutive audit, nearly $1 trillion of budget. They can't even tell you where it goes. So I think part of this is exposing for the public the extent of that rot and waste, but then to take steps first through executive action and then laying the groundwork for broader change through legislation as well to rein in that deficit, to rein in that budget. And more crucially, Maria, I know we're talking about this in terms of efficiency, but there's something deeper going on here. This is about restoring self-governance and accountability in America as well.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies, like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So, yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, I think, how quickly we're able to move with some of those changes, given the legal backdrop the Supreme Court has given us.
You know, when Barack Obama ran for president, he ran on a few key words. One of those words being change. And when people looked at Barack Obama, they saw change. He didn't look like any president we had before. Therefore, a lot of people supported him. A lot of people believed in the things that he was saying. They believed that, hey, maybe we can get a change. At the very least, we're going to get something different. And then Barack Obama got in office and there wasn't much change. And the change that we got was for the worse. And people realized that he was just another corrupt politician like them all. But now in 2024, I think that we have I think there's a possibility for once that we get real change. Now, some people would argue that we got change in 2016 with Trump. Now, I think Trump did a lot of good things. I supported what Trump did in 2016 and throughout his first term. But that was not the change that I was necessarily looking for. I want the swamp to actually be drained. I don't want Trump to surround himself with people who are part of the machine. And, you know, even though I think Trump did a lot of good things, I didn't get the change that I was looking for in his first term. But I feel like we will get the change that we're looking for now. And I don't think that can hurt. I don't think it hurts to try something new, to try something different. We've seen how America has been run. It's been run basically the same way for years. You could take in, you know, a different administration, a different president here and there. For the most part, it's a well-oiled machine that just kept on chugging. Now we're going to start seeing things get shaken up a bit. And that's what Americans want. Even Americans on the left, they might not actually be able to put it in words. They might not realize it because they suffer from TDS. But Americans want change. Americans want something different from their politicians. They want something differently done in Washington, D.C. We're tired of the same old, same old. So I think that now, for the first time, at least in my lifetime, there's a possibility for real change. And I'm accepting that change. I'm accepting that possibility because we need it. And I don't think it would hurt to just see how things could go if we take a different approach. And I'm looking at some of the people that Trump has around him, and they're not going to be taking the traditional approach that a lot of politicians and a lot of other administrations have taken in the past. So for right now, I'm excited. And I'm hoping that, you know, we actually get real change for once. But you let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.